Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Builds, and today we're dealing with the 2010 Renault Megane RS250. So this has 668 horsepower, 682 pounds-feet of torque from a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine. The car itself now weighs 2,603 pounds, has off-road tyres, all-wheel drive and off-road suspension. It can now do 0 to 60 in 3.198 seconds, 0 to 100 in 6.051 seconds, and going to a top speed of 204 miles an hour. So yeah, we've not had a hot hatchback on this series for a while. I'm struggling to actually think of the last one that we had, but we have had French cars on this series before with the two older Renaults, which weren't particularly great. But we've also had the Peugeot 207 Super 2000, which is a rally car, although we upgraded it even more, which still is sitting in the top 10. So I'm hoping this can do rather well, because it's got pretty good speed, acceleration, launch and braking. Handling's a little bit on the downside, but nowhere near as bad as we've seen some cars to be. And yeah, the off-road stat is fairly decent. Anything 7 or above is pretty fine by me. So yeah, let's see what this car can do, and yeah, whether or not it can be our first, well, one of our first, new French road cars to go on this series. I can't quite remember if we've had any other newer front French cars on this series before, but yeah. In fact, I'm struggling to remember any. Might indicate that we haven't had one here before, but regardless, as you can see, it's hardly a slouch in a straight line, and with all that power and the fact that it doesn't weigh very much, it's obviously going to be beneficial in terms of straight line speed and handling. Whether or not it'll be good for dealing with this off-road course, we'll have to see. So yeah, this was front-wheel drive originally, 250 horsepower stock, which is pretty good for a I figured we missed that then, which is pretty good for a 13-year-old hot hatchback. So yeah, we've used up 2 of our rewinds there, so we've only got 1 left now. I figured I'd caught it, but evidently not. I've been further away from checkpoints than that before and gotten away with it, so I'm not quite sure why that was so egregious, but there we go, this is the way it is. We'll have no more mistakes, so we don't need to worry about having only 1 rewind left. Oh dear. Curse of the commentator has struck. Well, we've gotten out of that better than we would have if we'd have left it, but we now have no rewinds left, so yeah, gonna have to be extra careful now. This is the first car, this is the first car in a long time that has used up all of its rewinds, especially in such a short space of time. Yeah, big fear with this was that moment then, is that the fact that this can snap oversteer, because it was never meant to have rear wheel drive or any power going for those rear wheels at all, and obviously quite a short wheelbase and not weighing very much, it could snap oversteer. Yeah, that's what happened there, so yeah, we've got to really keep an eye on that rear end to make sure it doesn't do that again, because yeah, we'll be knackered otherwise in terms of our time. We don't want that. Have to play it a little bit safely. Still getting some good rates of speed. Oh, it's trying it again there. Very oversteer happy car, this. Whoa, just about caught that. Yeah, it's a very lively car, but then so there are a lot of hot hatchbacks, especially ones that are front-wheel drive, have a lot of power going through those front wheels. But it is agile in all the right places, doesn't have a lot of understeer. This is really the oversteer that is the big problem with this, which, to be honest, I was not expecting. It's hardly the fastest time that we've had, and it's certainly slower than the Lamborghini Cyan Roadster from the previous episode, but still 3 minutes 25.364 is still fairly decent, especially if you compare it against the other vehicles that are just behind it. So yeah, you can compare it to the likes of the Subaru Legacy RS, which is obviously a car that is based on a off-road vehicle. You've got the Audi TT RS, again another car that was meant for all-wheel drive standard, so that had an advantage over this. The Ford F-150 SVT Lightning, which is semi kind of off-road vehicle, quite basic at that though, to be honest. Then you've got the Porsche 911 Desert Flyer, which is definitely meant for going off-road, the Land Rover Defender 110X, the Ford Bronco, the Toyota Land Cruiser AT37, and yeah, the likes of the Toyota Tundra. So it's ahead of several quite serious off-road vehicles, but it is just behind the GMC Jimmy, which is obviously a serious off-road vehicle, but it's 53 years old, as well as the MG MG3 and the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. So yeah, it's kind of slap bang in the middle between cars you'd expect to be quick and cars you wouldn't expect to be quick. Yeah, this is kind of in between those kind of vehicles, but still fairly impressive time, especially given our the oversteer issues that this car was having, and therefore we had to be a little bit on the careful side because we had no rewinds left and we didn't want to make it the time any worse, which we definitely would have if we would have spun out. So yeah, a little bit uneasy about the oversteer, but everything else about the car was pretty good. It was getting to really good rates of speed and had really good agility where necessary. So yeah, not the worst car that we've had, but given the amount of power it had and the lack of weight, I was expecting it to go a little bit quicker. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.